Hello and welcome to the Season 13 finale of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Josh. And we are actually ending the season on Ari's birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Ari.
I got you something.
Not again. Didn't we have enough of this last week, Larry? Come on, man.
28 years old. Already.
Wow, 28?
Yes.
You're going to be discussing
28 years old now.
a poem that Ari selected called Scope is a Thing We Cannot Learn by Cris Kilgour.
It's a quartet.
It is a quartet. 4 lines.
This is from my friend's uncle writes poetry, and this is his is part of at this point it might or might not be published yet. If it is published, I'll have Josh put a link where you can access the stuff, or you can just get a hold of me and I can hook you up with some of the stuff. But this is a anthology he's making called 4 Lines for the Times, and it is an entire poetry anthology of all quartets that take place during the quarantine, that he wrote during the quarantine.
Already.
So scope is a thing you cannot learn.
How about you read it first?
Already. Scope is a thing we cannot learn when children are lined up to always be first. The grand and the savior suspending the days to quench their egregious and terrible thirst.
I thought this really spoke to me. And that's so I actually asked Chris if we could share. He's fine with it. So it spoke to me. I'm curious, what do you guys think?
It says a lot about not just children, but about human nature too, because
that's what I was thinking.
Scope is that idea that people think things out and thus develop a greater sense of self-control, but it's difficult when children or those around you make instant decisions where you have to force your hand, or it's kind of like that early bird getting the worm kind of thing, where people are going to think on instinct and the result may either be good or it may be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
to me, I think it's like the decisions that we make have ramifications across a wide domain that we may not even be aware of, right? And it affects things that we might not know, that we might not consider, and causes problems or different different scenarios for different people based on what one decision can do and can pour out and make all kinds of different effects that we have not unintended consequences.
I like how he uses like 2 complete opposite words. Well, at least it feels like they're opposite: grand and savior. Like I feel like when I'm reading something like that, I'm feeling, on one hand, he's saying someone who's like a narcissist. And on the other hand, he's saying someone who cares about other people, a savior. Or at least that's what it sounds like anyway. So it's interesting that he's using antonyms in this sentence here. Complete opposites.
I don't think they're really opposites.
You don't think so?
No, I think that grandness is just it's meant to be a positive description of something that is better than the average, right? Something, it's grand. It's like it's
grande.
Yeah.
Use Spanish.
It's good. It's a good thing. It's good and kind of opulent, but not in a way that is bad.
And I also think it's
that's. I'm not sure what he meant by terrible.
Well, I mean, terrible's got a lot of meanings, right?
Yeah.
I think he's going for more like the size of it, right? Like it's a terrible.
The scope of
just
it.
the use of the word egregious, meaning shocking or just bad in general. So he uses something that's synonymous with terrible just to add something to the almost animal-like instinct that people jump to.
Yeah, so like Larry could be right. This could be talking about people that are good doing bad, doing things to help them.
Just because they're making egregious decisions doesn't make them egregious people. Just because people act by animalistic instinct doesn't make them.
I always say there's never such thing as a bad person.
No.
Just people who do.
They make bad decisions.
Bad decisions, yeah.
So
that's actually a better way than I was going to put it. But like a lot of times we complained about other people because we were like, oh, that person is not doing something the way we would view it as correct. And I admit that I've made that mistake multiple times. So like you got to remember that everyone's different.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, but it's not even necessarily animalistic. It's just like kind of passionate, kind of intense, right? Like the kids want something, they want it, right? They really want it.
And you don't know what the consequences are going to be if they get it. I felt this was very powerful. I think there were a couple other poems he did he gave me like a page with 4 of poems on it, all from like August or something. This was one that just, it stood out to me very powerfully because I was just wondering what you guys think it means.
And just as kids really want things, there are different things that adults want and are
Lots of
fight for, and in ways we are willing to kill for in a more dangerous way.
Kind of goes back to our discussion about the Manassas discussion we had a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like that. It's like where the Civil War only started because people some people wanted one thing and another set of people wanted the other, and instead of being able to agree to disagree, took it to the sword. Maybe cannot, in this case, scope we cannot learn. Maybe he's not saying it as cannot, as in like it's not something we can learn. Maybe he means more like it's impossible.
Yeah.
No matter how hard we try, I'm not.
Being mere limited human beings, right? And with finite minds and finite understanding of things, we'll never be able to have a full grasp of the scope of what we do. Right? We'll never be able to really know what we have done and how it has affected the lives and just the world around us. We'll never be able to know.
I think we've seen a lot of scope being put to the test.
I mean, considering this was written during quarantine.
But people have to gather their information and make the decision that they intuitively feel is best for themselves and those around them.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And I think if we kept to that kind of thinking, then we could have saved ourselves a lot of grief going through this.
Alrighty then.
Alright, so guys, if you're interested in the 4 lines for the Times, it is possible that it is published. It is probably less likely because it's at the time of this recording, it has not gone anywhere near publishing yet. If you want to read some of Chris's stuff now, if you can message us on YouTube or on whatever, Goodreads even, to Josh. Josh can relay the message to me, and I can send you guys. I have about 16 of these 4-line poems that he sent me.
I saw 4 of them, but you probably have 12 more on your person.
So I have, he gave me full permission to share them. So yeah, I just think it's a very complex, it seems like a kind of different meanings to it. It's not just one straight meaning.
I couldn't think of something material to get for you for your birthday, but I thought that when things get better, I will take you out to Piccadilly Inn. We'll have something to eat and play pool.
Okay, that sounds good.
Nice.
And I would like to thank everybody.
No more Rubik's Cubes. I had enough of that.
I'd like to thank.
No, do not do that. No.
I'd like to thank everybody
I got another one.
I'd like to thank everybody that contributed to make season 13 the great season that it was. I want to
thanks everybody.
I want to thank Larry, Ari. I want to thank Charlie. I want to thank Kayla, Casey,
Dan, come over here.
Sarah,
come over here,
Dan, Jesse.
We got Dan here.
Cindy.
Don't forget Dominica.
Yeah,
Dominica. And I also want to thank our special guests that took part during our Zoom discussions. We had Maya from The Spectacle, Pete from Barrier Island Books and Art. He has a bookstore in Stone Harbor and a channel. I want to thank Perry from Literary Knitterary and Amber from Amber Unabridged for contributing to this season.
And then we also had, you forgot about Casey and Sarah Zorns, too.
I thought I mentioned Casey and Sarah Zorns.
Oh, I must
have. And also, Josh, on behalf of all these contributors that you mentioned, I wanted to say thank you for putting this show together. We love taking part in this. There's a real sense it's a real sense of community that you've built, and we really appreciate it. And all the work that you put into this, the fact that you feed us when we come here, and such a gracious host. Thank you, Josh.
Thank
because
you.
This project has been an absolute amazing experience for all of us.
And I should be very happy to tell everyone we are going to have a season 14, right, Josh?
Yes, it's going to be premiering next month, and we are going to have some in-person discussions, Zoom discussions, people that you've noticed on the show several times before, and special guests as well. So we got a great season up ahead. And thank you to you, the subscribers, and to the patrons. for making this channel as great as it has been.
Subscribe to Literary Gladiators Patreon. Oh, that was Bird. He's all the way out there.
Already. Thank you, and for now, and as always, we encourage you to keep reading.
Keep reading.
Keep reading.